My name is Brice Van De Walle. I work at Mastercard. I'm the lead for core product in Europe. And so we are taking care of everything that we call core. So that's prepaid, debit, credit, but also everything that touches on digital and the acceptance. I think the thing that is the most exciting for us is agentic commerce. This will be fundamentally change how consumers are using technology to do purchases. And this is really going to have a big impact on merchant communities, PSPs, acquirers, everyone in the ecosystem. And so that will also unfold dramatic opportunities for those merchants, those players that are actually enabled to grasp what it takes to be relevant in that space. What we see is that the younger generation, so the Gen Alpha, they're like born into the world of AI, and they will use AI and agent by default, right? So by default, they will rely on these players to do whatever needs to be done. And that will change how people interact online, right? They will move from a world where they search and clicked for the goods that they were willing to buy to a world where they will simply delegate to agent the action of first searching and then buying what they want. So that will really change how the digital world is working today. It's going to take obviously a little bit of time, but we're actively working on it, and there's already a lot of things that are happening, including the first transaction that are what we call Agent Pay compatible. For the longest time, the biggest concerns of agent has always been approval rate as well as managing fraud rate, right? So it's always a balancing exercise. You know, on one hand, you want the highest approval rate, but on the other side, you don't want to have too much fraud, right? And so how do you get to that right balance is what we've been working on for quite some time now. And there are really two pieces of technology that can enable that. On one hand, you have what we call tokenization, the end-to-end tokenization. By that, I mean the usage of tokens from the merchant that is then passed on to the PSPs or the gateways, then to the acquirers, and then ultimately to the issuer. And that is one piece of technology that the merchants are now adopting widely. We have an ambition at Mastercard to have, by 2030, 100% of tokenized transaction in card-not-present world. And the other part, which is helping on both approval rate and fraud rate, is how you authenticate. Their biometric technology, and more specifically passkeys, are the technology and the tools that merchants are now adopting in order to provide the best-in-class user experience, but also making sure that approval rates are higher and the fraud rate are the lowest. So these are really the two things that when you combine them, you provide the best-in-class experience and the lowest fraud rate as possible. Agentic commerce is clearly one, I'm not going to repeat that, but the other thing that is picking up, and we've just made literally today an announcement, is how stablecoin is going to become something more and more relevant, not so much in the B2C environment, but more in the B2B environment. So we've just announced that acquisition we're making, where we will be enabling stablecoin push payment, receiving payments, also wallet enablement. So there's a lot of things that are happening in this space, and this will fundamentally shift the way our partners, the banks, are using those technologies to enable the card rails. Look, again, I think merchants are really interested to understand how agentic commerce will be influencing their business. Everybody has a lot of questions, but it's very exciting to see how people are genuinely interested. There's a huge demand on the consumer front for the usage of agent in that space, and agents are going to be there, whether they're global agent or regional or local agent. And so there are loads and loads of questions from the merchant on, what do I need to do, right? What's the strategy that I should use in order to embrace that opportunity? And we're here to help, so it's fantastic.